The only true secure computer is one that's turned off inside a safe at the bottom of the ocean. But since you probably want to, use your computer, then we're gonna build the next best thing avoiding the usual suspects. So, first thing on the list, antiviruses. 2 videos ago, which is like 50 years in the past, I said some things about Windows Defender that started a literal war zone in the comments section for some reason. But like I said in the TLDR of that video, Windows Defender isn't bad, it's just not very good if you don't supplement it with functioning brain cells and the things that I'll tell you right now. So alright, security doesn't start in Windows, it starts in the UEFI. The golden rule here is that if your BIOS is open, your PC is just a toy. So the first step is to set a password for each of them because the cold boot attack is real. That is, if someone has physical access to your machine for 60 seconds because they can boot a specialized Linux distro from the USB and dump your RAM or bypass your local login. But the good news, however, is that if you have a BIOS password, it locks the boot order, killing the hijack before it even starts. Next, enable secure boot. I know the Linux community is gonna hate it, but if you're in a Windows environment, then this is your first line of defense against bootkits. This is of course assuming that your main OS is Windows, which if it is, first of all, what are you doing? But if you're based and use Linux, then I still recommend it, unless you're like a power user or something. Now we look for kernel DMA protection. DMA is a feature that allows hardware like Thunderbolt or USB-C devices to talk directly to your RAM without involving your CPU. Now don't get me wrong, it is a massive performance boost, but it can also be a security nightmare. For example, a malicious hardware implant can use DMA to read your encryption key straight out of your memory, and that's pretty bad. So, enabling kernel DMA protection ensures that your OS is the one who manages these requests, creating a logical barrier between your ports and your secrets. And if your motherboard is from like 2020 or later and this is off, you're leaving a physical backdoor wide open for a $20 hardware exploit, so I would advise to leave it on. Go to Windows Security, App and Browser Control, and Exploit Protection. Don't just look at it, tweak it. Be absolutely sure that Control Flow Guard is on, because this basically performs checks on indirect call instructions to prevent like jump-oriented programming or JOP attacks. Let me just stop reading. It stops a hacker from redirecting your program's flow into their own malicious code, and it's the difference between a door that's shut and a door that's bolted. Here's one of the reasons I hate Windows so much. Basically, Microsoft hides the most aggressive security features behind PowerShell commands because they're afraid of support tickets, but guess what? We are not. Go to GitHub right now and get Configure Defender and set it to hide. This enables ASR, Attack Surface Reduction rules. This is crucial because ASR allows you to block specific behaviors that almost exclusively are used for malware. For example, we have block Office applications from creating child processes because there is zero reason for Microsoft Word to even launch a CMD window or PowerShell script. And by enabling this, you kill 90% of macro-based ransomware instantly. You also want to enable block obfuscated scripts and block executable content from email. Oh my god, I run out of air. Block executable content from email clients, so you're basically telling your OS, hey, if you by any chance encounter something that looks like a duck and quacks like a hacker, then kill it before it speaks. I have a personal ideology that states that if a service doesn't need to run, then it shouldn't exist. Use any of these tools to disable telemetry and unnecessary background services like remote registry or print spooler, like just why? Now we get into the heavy stuff. BVS or virtualization based security is the pro tier. Windows 10 or 11 can use the CPU's hardware virtualization, the same thing used to run virtual machines, to create a secure region of memory that is completely from the OS. Just go to Windows Security, Device Security, and Core Isolation. This ensures that every single driver trying to run in your kernel is verified and isolated in a bubble first. And have in mind that enabling this also takes away some performance, but believe me, it's worth it. Also, I almost forgot, enable Microsoft Vulnerable Driver Blocklist because hackers love using bring your own vulnerable driver attacks. Basically, they take a legitimate but old and buggy driver from a reputable company and install it into your system. This blocklist is a database of those known bad good drivers, so keep it updated. And in case you're liking this video, please subscribe. I have a lot of crazy video ideas for this 2026 I wouldn't want you to miss. So your PC is now hardened, but unfortunately your network is still a public park. Most people don't realize that every time you visit a website, your PC sends a plain text request to your ISP's DNS. And your ISP knows every site you visit, and more importantly, those requests can be intercepted or spoofed by anyone on your local network. This is how DNS hijacking works. So step 1, if security is your main concern, then change your DNS to Quad9, because they are basically a non-profit organization that specializes in threat security. And every time you try to connect to a domain, they check it against a global database of malware command and control servers. If the domain is malicious, then Quad9 simply gaslights your computer and tells them that that address doesn't exist. Next, enable DNS over HTTPS. Go to Windows Settings, Network and Internet, Ethernet and Wi-Fi, and DNS settings. Set it to manual and toggle the DNS over HTTPS to on. Now your DNS requests are wrapped on TLS encryption. Your ISP can no longer see what domains you're looking up, and hackers on your Wi-Fi cannot poison your DNS. We all know that Windows Firewall is great at blocking incoming connections, but it's a little bit of a snitch when it comes to outgoing ones, because for some reason it lets almost everything talk to the internet, and that's just tragic. So just install Simplewall. It's an open source front end for the Windows filtering platform, and with Simplewall I found it really convenient that nothing happens until you say yes. Now we come to my favorite part of cybersecurity, physical stuff. Alright, let's say you're at a coffee shop, right, and you go to the bathroom and leave your laptop open for 60 seconds. Well, first of all, shame on you. And second of all, it takes less than that for someone to just plug in a rubber ducky and that's it. It's over. Because a device like this can type PowerShell commands at 1,000 words per minute that downloads a remote access Trojan, executes it, and hides it in the process. I mean, it's done. The fix I like to implement for this is going into gpedit.msc and navigate here. Then enable this option and it will practically just freeze your IO. If a new device is plugged, whether it be a keyboard, a drive, or a hacker tool, Windows will refuse to install the driver. You can only disable this when you're intentionally adding hardware, so keep that in mind. And please, I am begging you, all the people that I see out there using those public charging ports in USB, I mean, just stop it. But if you really need to use them, I mean, like pretty bad, let's say your non-existent wife texted you, your village is getting attacked, you want a brand new car, you need to call 911 or any of those things, you can just buy a USB condom. I wish I was joking, but I'm not. These things exist and are a lifesaver, and not because of the reason that you think. No, that does not go in there. They prevent data transfer, so you can just plug it and charge your phone normally without worrying about getting your stuff stolen or something. I don't know what the script was again. 90% of your threats are delivered via the browser. Using vanilla Chrome is like walking through a biological weapon lab without a suit. You can use whatever browser you think is the best. I find myself using between Brave and hardened Firefox, but that's just up to you. And a pro tip, JavaScript is the root of all evil when we talk about web exploitation. Almost every browser-based exploit relies on JS to run on its payload, so for high-risk browsing, use NoScript. It blocks all scripts by default, so yeah, it will break most modern websites, but that's the point. You allow scripts one by one only on the sites you trust. It's tedious, yeah, but it makes you immune to drive-by downloads and cross-site scripting. Finally, just clear your cookies on exit. Stale session cookies are a goldmine for hackers. If they steal your session token, they can bypass your password and 2FA. Let's talk about the identity failure point. If your password is your dog's name followed by 123, I don't mean no offense, but my personal recommendation would be using Bitwarden. I mean, it's just what I use. It's open source, it's free, and it's secure. You can generate a 30-character random string, but here's the move that most people miss. You gotta stop using an administrator account. If you're admin, the malware is admin, but if you're standard, then the malware is standard as well, and it hits a UAC prompt, it dies. In my opinion, this principle of least privilege is the single most effective way to stop a minor infraction from becoming a total system wipe. And for 2FA, my so beloved 2FA, SMS is just garbage. SIM swapping is so easy, a teenager can do it with a phone call to your carrier. You could use TOTP apps like Aegis or EnterAuth, but better yet, buy a Yubikey. And overall, a hacker's biggest goal isn't getting into your PC, it's staying there. This is called persistence. They hide in your registry, your scheduled task, or your startup folder, so that even if you reboot, they can come back. So get Autoruns for Microsoft sys internal suit. It is is the most comprehensive tool for seeing exactly what starts up with your computer. Open it as admin and look at everything highlighted in pink or yellow. These are files without digital signatures or files that are just missing. Look at the logon and schedule task tab. If you see something called update or helper, this is running out of the temp folder or the local epic data folder, whatever. Because if they're running from there, then it's a massive red flag. Real software lives in program files, malware lives in the user folders. So right click anything suspicious and check VirusTotal. I'm sure you already know what VirusTotal is, but it basically checks everything within 70 antiviruses in total. If it's 30, just you know what to do. And also, the only thing that makes you 100% immune to data loss is an offline backup. So I would just follow the 3-2-1 rule. 3 copies of your data, 2 different media types like an SSD or a cloud drive, and 1 copy offsite. And offsite doesn't just mean iCloud, it means an external drive that is unplugged from your computer. If the drive is not physically connected to electricity, a hacker cannot encrypt it. An emphasis on electricity. I mean, if you want to learn more, just Google side channel attacks and you're gonna get blown away, dude. What the hell is this? So yeah, I really hope this helped you. In case you heard something here that you didn't know before, you can just Google it and just keep researching. I mean, really, just do it.